Hi friends, welcome back. I hope you all are safe and are doing well. If any of your loved ones, relatives or friends are infected by the virus, my prayers for the speedy recovery. Please remember to take all the necessary precautions, wash your hands regularly, wear a mask and maintain social distance wherever possible. So together we can fight this. So today I have come up with my second concept, that is derivatives. Now this topic seems to be very difficult for CA students to grasp and understand. But I tell you that once the structure and the design of how the instrument works is understood, it can be easily related with other concepts and also easy to apply as well. So let's start. And today in this short video I will be covering up what is the meaning of a derivative instrument, the types of derivative instruments that are prevailing in India, and also how organizations use these derivative instruments for their purpose. So let's start. So today we'll start with what is the meaning of a derivative instrument. Now it's very easy. I will write down the definition here and I'll make you understand how is it different from other contracts that are there in the market. Now derivative, first of all, I'll write down derivative first point is a contract. The first point that you have to understand is derivative is a contract. Just like any other sale contract or any other sale of property contract or purchase of shares contract, any such contract, derivative is also a contract. Second point, derivative is a contract which has some value. So derivative is a contract which has some value. Again, similarly, like just any other contract which has some value. For example, in a sale contract, the consideration that you pay for the goods and services is your value, and in case of purchase of shares, the price that you pay for shares is a value. So in derivatives also, it is a contract which has some value. Now, up till here, derivative is similar to any other contract. But the third point differentiates it from other contracts. That is, derivative is a contract which has some value, and such value is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset. So derivative, the word itself defines it. So when you say derivative is a contract which has some value, and such value is dependent or derived. As you can see, the word derived mentioned here itself defines it. Derivative is nothing but a contract which has some value and whose value is derived. The word derivative itself says it. The value is derived from the value of an underlying asset. Now this underlying asset can be any other asset. Can also be any price. So it can be dependent on the value of an underlying asset or a price or an index. So let me give you examples to help you understand better. So when you say a derivative is a contract which has some value, and such value is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset, price or index. Now this is the basic definition. When I give you the types of derivative contracts prevailing in India, I will make you understand what this point means. So let's understand what are the types of derivative contracts prevailing in India. So in India, there are various derivative contracts. For example, there are options, there are futures, there are forward contracts, there are swaps, there are OTC derivatives, and many more. So I'll just list down the types of derivative contracts that are there in India, and I'll explain you this point with the help of by taking up one of such type of derivative as an example. So if you can see types of derivatives. So we have options, futures, you have swap agreements, you have OTC derivatives, etc. Now, when I say derivative is a contract which has some value and such value is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset, price or index. Also, when I say this value, such value, this value is negligible or low. This value is negligible or very low. So, the investment in a derivative contract is very less. And when I talk about the settlement of this contract, for example, in a sale contract, suppose you enter into a sale contract wherein you purchase the goods and the payment is to be made after 3 months, for example. So in that case, the settlement of the contract happens after 3 months. Similarly, in a derivative contract, the settlement of the contract happens on a pre-specified future date. So a derivative is a contract which has some value and the value is dependent on the value of some other underlying asset, price or index, and the value of investment is very negligible or low, and such contract is settled at a pre-specified future date. So when I spoke about types of derivatives, I told you there are options, futures, swaps, OTC derivatives. So these are the derivatives that are prevalent in India. Now, I'll take up, for example, I'll take options as an example and I'll explain you this definition. Now, when I speak about options, now what is an option contract? First, you have to understand that option contract is a derivative instrument, as I've already told. Option contract is a contract between two parties wherein one party has the right. Now, when the name itself says it, option means a right. So, option contract is a contract in which one party has the right to buy or sell. One party has the right to buy or sell. Now, what to buy and sell? To buy and sell an underlying asset. Buy and sell an underlying asset, and the other party has an obligation to buy and sell. Of course, if one party has the right, the other party definitely has an obligation to buy or sell. For example, if I have in an option contract, if I have the right to buy an underlying asset, the other party has an obligation to sell an underlying asset. Now, so you can understand that there are two contracts that arise out of a derivative contract. I'll just give you an example. For example, suppose I am Mr. A and I enter into an option contract with B, wherein I have the right to buy the shares of ITC. Suppose I am A and I have entered into an option contract with B, wherein I have the right to buy the shares of ITC for rupees say 200. Just an example. So suppose I have entered into an option contract with B to purchase the shares of ITC for rupees 200. Now here I have the right to buy. So here I am the option buyer. Now there are two contracts. One contract is the option contract. The second contract is the contract of purchase of shares. That is the second contract. So there are two contracts that arise. One is the option contract and second one is the purchase of shares of ITC. Now when I said that I have a right to buy, that means I may buy or I may not buy. When I say I have a right to buy, that means I may buy or I may not buy. So when I say that I have a right, so I will have to pay something for the right to get that right, because I don't have that right as of now. But in order to enter into the option contract and get that right, I will have to pay something to Mr. B to get that right. That is called as an option premium. Now that option premium itself is called as value. So suppose in that example, in that example, where A has a right to buy the shares of ITC for rupees 200, it would have paid some amount as option premium, as an investment, as a value of the option contract. It would have paid to get that right to purchase the shares of ITC. Suppose I am in that example, I have paid, A paid Mr. B shares of ITC. I will suppose I have purchased the right to buy 100 shares of ITC for 200 rupees, 200 each. So suppose A paid Mr. B rupees 10 per share as option premium. A paid Mr. B rupees 10 per share as option premium for the right. What right? To purchase the shares of ITC for rupees 200. So this is my investment. So as you can see, this is very negligible or low. So derivative. So this is a contract, an option contract. I have entered into an option contract with B, which is a contract which has some value. 10 rupees per share is the value, and such value is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset. Now what is the underlying asset here? Underlying asset is shares of ITC. Shares of ITC is the underlying asset. Now how is this value dependent on the shares of value of ITC? Simple. If the value, so I have entered into an agreement to buy the shares of ITC for 200 each, say after 3 months. Now someone would ask, why would I enter into such a contract? I can directly go in the market and purchase after 3 months. Correct? Why would I enter into a contract now and pay option premium and go and purchase? The very simple, the logic here is that A is entering into a speculation. What A is doing is, it is expecting that the price of share of ITC will increase in the future, that is after 3 months. So it is entering into a contract now to fix the price of the shares. Simple, and to make a profit. So what it will do is, suppose after 3 months the price in the market of ITC of the share of ITC is rupees, say 250, is 250. Now here A has already entered into an option contract to purchase the share at 200 and the price in the market is 250. So here A has gained 50 rupees per share, and for this right, so this here A will exercise the right. He will exercise the right and purchase the shares at 200 from Mr. B and sell in the market at 250. So here gain to A will be rupees 50. Okay, and he would have, for this right that he has taken, he has paid 10 per share as option premium to Mr. B. So option premium that he has paid is rupees 10 per share. So the net gain to Mr. A is 40 per share. So as you can see that derivative was a contract which has some value, rupees 10 is some value, and such value, rupees 10, is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset, which is the shares of ITC. Now how is it dependent? Suppose the price of ITC shares in the market keeps on increasing over a period of 3 months, keeps on increasing. So the value of the right also increases, because suppose now I made up my mind, I changed my mind and I want to sell this right to someone else. Suppose I purchased this right from Mr. B. Now I have the right to buy. Now if I want to sell this right to someone else, I would also charge some consideration, just as B charged me rupees 10 per share. I would also charge someone for this, right? Now, what is the amount that I will charge is dependent on the value of shares. If the value of the shares in the market keeps on increasing, the value of the right also increases. The value of the right means the value of the derivative instrument, which is nothing but the option contract, also increases. So, derivative is a contract which has some value, and such value is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset, price or index, and the value and such investment is low or negligible, and such contract is settled at a pre-specified future date. Now, pre-specified future date is nothing but after 3 months here. So this is an example of a derivative instrument, and how persons enter into derivative contracts to earn some, to gain capital appreciation or to make some profit, and also they use it for various purposes, which I will be telling you now. How organizations use derivative instruments to manage the financial risk. So next, I would like to explain you how organizations use derivative instruments. Now in India, there are, as I've already mentioned, there are options, futures, swap agreements, interest rate agreements, OTC derivatives, and many more such derivative instruments that organizations use. Now these derivative instruments are restricted in a manner so as to reduce speculation. But in case of other countries, such as in the US, there we have derivative instruments whose value fluctuates based on weather. So you can imagine the amount of fluctuations or speculation that takes place in the foreign markets. But in India, speculation is restricted, and therefore there are certain derivative contracts that have been prescribed. And these contracts are options, futures, swaps, OTC derivatives. Now, how organizations use this derivative instruments? Now, organizations majorly use this for hedging, for speculation purposes, and to make some profit. Now, for example, in case of financial institutions or companies or companies who are engaged in finance such as lending or borrowing, they use financial instruments as a vital source for maintaining their exposure, especially foreign exposures. So even big organizations who have imports, exports, and major transactions in foreign currency, what they do is they use derivative instruments to manage their financial or forex exposure. Now they majorly use it for hedging. Now, how can you use it for hedging? For example, there is one more example of a derivative is a forward contract. So, in case of a forward contract, suppose a company has engaged into a transaction from the foreign supplier. Suppose it's purchasing some materials from the foreign supplier. In such case, it has to make payment in the foreign currency, which is foreign currency for which it has to, suppose it has to make the payment, say, after 3 months. So after 3 months, the organization is uncertain as to what will be the exchange rate. So in order to manage such risk, manage such foreign exchange exposure, it enters into a forward contract today itself to determine the rate of exchange in the future. As I've already told, derivative is a contract. So forward contract is also a contract which has some value, in the sense, when you enter into a forward contract, you have to pay some commission charges to the bank or to the broker. So in that case, it has some value, and if this value is dependent or derived from the value of an underlying asset. Similarly, the forward contract, the value of a forward contract is dependent on the exchange rate. Now, I told you, now here it is not the underlying asset, but here it is the index or the price. When you say the exchange rate, it's nothing but the price. So it's dependent on the exchange rate here. So this is also satisfied, and also it is settled at a pre-specified future date. Yes, I told you forward contract is settled after a certain period of time. In my example, it was 3 months, where you have to make a payment after 3 months. So what you do is you enter into a forward contract now at a specified rate, so that you fix your rate. So you hedge your position, so that now you are free from forex exposure. No matter whatever will be the rate of exchange after 3 months, you have to pay the amount at the agreed exchange rate in the forward contract. So this is how organizations use derivatives to manage the financial risk and exposure. Also, organizations as well as individuals use derivative contracts for the purpose of speculation. Just I already explained you here, A was expecting that the price of the shares of ITC will increase in the future. Hence, it entered into an option contract with Mr. B, wherein it paid rupees 10 per share as an option premium to purchase the right, and it made a gain of rupees. He made a gain of rupees 40. So this is how derivative instruments, once the basic structure and basic definition is understood and applied, you can easily relate to how organizations use such contracts and how they manage the risk. So all this can be easily understood just by understanding the basic structure and the definition of derivatives. So there are other various types of derivatives, other forms of derivatives that are there, which I'll not be going through in this class, but my objective of this class was to help you understand the basic understanding of what is a derivative, how it is, what are the types that are there in India, how organizations and how individuals use them as a means to manage the financial risks, and how they use it for hedging, speculation, etc. And also give you an example of how option contract works. So this was pretty much from my side for today. Just a short video of how you understand derivative instruments. So please, if you have any comments or if you have any suggestions for me, please leave down in the comment section. And I would like to hear from you what other concepts I can bring about for you to learn. So thank you very much. Please take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.